Welcome into Redacted. We are live 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm Clayton Morris.
I'm Natalie Morris.
And on this show, we cover the stories the mainstream media is ignoring. The mainstream media is totally ignoring a rash of new assassination attempts against President Trump. How many are they actually telling us about? Why are they keeping us hidden to this new round of individuals who tried to kill Trump? And by the way, what kind of supporters are they? Remember the last two assassination attempts, the first two, both of them donated to Act Blue, of course, a big supporter of liberal causes. We'll find out more information about these individuals. We'll talk about that today on the show.
And hey, we're congratulating the Biden administration for securing a peace deal in Gaza. They really worked for that. They deserve it. The Biden administration, they did it. It's the same deal they offered 8 months ago. Funny it happens now, but President Biden is trying to victory lap on it when anybody who really studies this says it probably is the threat of Trump.
Yeah, and I love how they came out at the podium. Like, there's Biden, there's Kamala Harris, there's Antony Blinken right in front of them. They're like, oh, we're here to do this. We really negotiated this ceasefire for this temporary hostage deal. Sure you did. Sure you had anything to do with it at all, but we'll talk about that.
It is not all the way peace, you guys. So we're not going to break our arms patting anybody on the back. We're going to look at this from a true perspective, but it is progress. We think it is the promise of progress. Yeah. You can see how optimistic I am.
A couple of other stories we're going to talk about today, the wildfires, and a big update now on the failures of government. They've been trying to spin this as climate change, of course, and that it has nothing to do with failed liberal policies. Well, we now have the receipts, and we're going to go through Gavin Newsom's receipts today, specifically on the failures at the state level to put out these wildfires. Why did staff stand down for a long time while phone calls, 911 calls were coming in? Why did firefighters not respond for over 45 minutes? Well, we now have the receipts. We'll talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the economy today because new data, we just got the consumer data out today, and it's troubling. Like, consumer prices skyrocketing. I saw Savannah Hernandez posted, she's like, I just went in to buy eggs today. They're almost $12 for a dozen eggs right now in the United States. So the Biden administration is basically handing Trump a giant pile of garbage in the economy right now.
Yeah, it's tough out there, you guys. It's tough out there.
So we will talk about the economy and what that means for your wallet. What are we going to expect with these Trump tariffs coming up? The prices of the stock market, real estate, all of that stuff we'll talk about in today's show. But first, how many assassination attempts do we actually know about? How many have the government told us about? Well, we just found out about 2 new assassination attempts against President Trump. But don't worry, they swooped in. They were allowed to stop these assassins who were trying to kill President Trump.
Wait, who is they? The FBI that's prosecuting him? Right now?
Well, who knows exactly? I mean, who is they for what part of the question?
Who is they who swept in and stopped it?
Well, the Capitol Police seem to have stopped it this time.
Okay.
So the Capitol Police, at least in part, because Trump was there at the Capitol when Jimmy Carter was laying in state and during the funeral. So there's a huge, the argument could be said, well, maybe they're going after every president that was sitting there at the time to make a show of it. No, it seems like, according to these threats, they were going after President Trump, President-elect Trump, while he was at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Beforehand, afterhand, it's not very clear, but listen to the police on these 2 new attempts at his life.
The biggest threat, I think, for all of us remains the lone actor. Just in the past week, while President Carter was lying in state, we had 2 lone actors show up at the Capitol. One trying to bring in knives and a machete, another one who was trying to, what I believe, to disrupt the proceedings by setting their car on fire down in the Peace Circle area. U.S. Capitol Police were able to interdict these folks before they had a chance to do any harm. But that threat of the lone actor remains the biggest justification for us being on at this heightened state of alert throughout the next week.
So how many are they telling us about? And where is the mainstream media covering these stories? So how many other attempts right now has the FBI rounded up? How many individuals?
The media is bored of this.
The media doesn't care at all, of course, about these assassination attempts. And of course, when they do present it, then liberals love to downplay it and say that this is not a big deal. Just assassination attempts to get against a person who just won an overwhelming majority in an election. Just downplay it. just downvoted. Who cares? Really? Okay. I mean, literally within a hair's breadth, an inch, President Trump's head would have been shot off in Butler, Pennsylvania. So this is no big deal to you? I mean, if this happened to President Obama or any other liberal president-elect, there would be it'd be wall-to-wall coverage all over MSNBC and the legacy media. Here's the front page of the Washington Post today as these new credible threats have emerged against President Trump's life. Nothing. Zero on this. Why is the mainstream media hiding this from us? Why is Christopher Wray resigning? So yeah, there's not going to hear much on that front. But Jake Sullivan, the NSA, Jake Sullivan yesterday told reporters yesterday that this was his last press conference and that today was his last day on the job, unless a big event compels him to come back. Watch.
I just will say one last word, which is I hope this is my last time at this podium, at least for a little while. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, the only thing that would bring me back is an unexpected event in the next few days, which, as you all know, is totally possible given everything you've seen over the course of the past years. But if it is, in fact, my last time before you, I just want to say thank you for what you guys do every day. Thank you for putting up with me.
Yeah, like odd official in our chat says, was that code? Yeah.
Right.
That's totally possible. A major event could come at any moment now against who knows what in Washington, D.C. or otherwise, in which case.
Testifying about his role in Russiagate. Sure.
Yeah.
But not in a leadership position. I would like to see him around the other side of the table being asked hard questions.
Or, genocide in other spots of the world. Again, so multiple credible threats and the Capitol Police on high alert right now. Exactly. So what sort of restrictions will be put in place aerospace-wise? We'll have to watch and see. Meanwhile, the Pentagon says they're planning to undermine Trump. Advisors who worked in the Pentagon. We now have confirmation that the deep state, including members of the woke military-industrial complex, are working overtime to undermine President-elect Trump on day one, just like the last time he was in Washington, D.C., and they tried to drain the swamp back in 2016, with the military-industrial complex and the deep state that worked overtime to undermine President Trump. A top Pentagon advisor just revealed on hidden camera with a James O'Keefe media reporter, an undercover reporter, their plans to, quote, do what they can to protect people from Trump. Watch this unbelievable undercover camera.
And I work at this top consulting firm, and my client is the Pentagon. So I'm embedded in the Pentagon. I work in the Joint Staff, which is the top military command. When she lost, I went into the intelligence community and I became an FBI special agent. So I became a spy hunter. So I was a counterintelligence agent, special agent at the FBI.
What's your overall assessment of Trump?
He's a sociopathic narcissist who is only interested in advancing his name, his wealth, and his fame.
Is there anything you can do to protect American people from the stuff that he might try to do?
I'm in conversation with a couple of retired generals to try to explore what we can do.
Who were the retired generals that you were going to talk to?
They're like 1, 2, or 3-star generals and admirals.
Big meeting on AI tomorrow at the Pentagon, and he's here having drinks. Former special agent of the FBI, former assistant to Hillary Clinton, senior advisor at the Pentagon, just talking about how to protect the United States from Trump with these 3- and 4-star generals and how this is all going to play out. Okay. You guys feel safer that this guy is at the helm?
Well, no, because I assume that that guy's a dime a dozen in Washington, thinking he's going to thwart the Trump administration.
Well, I mean, look, it worked last time. So again, it worked in 2016.
Yes.
They absolutely undermined President Trump. You saw traitorous Mark Milley. Basically, we know what will he be court-martialed as a result of not following orders? So again,
we know that the FBI asked social media to censor any pro-Trump information in order to get Joe Biden elected while Trump was in office. So yeah, it's not hard to believe. It's not that I don't believe him. It's that I think that there's a lot of weasels like him, and Yeah, sure. Sure. How much power will they have this time around now that we know about it?
Well, I don't know. It's a massive bureaucracy, right? I mean, they have $1 trillion a year budget. So anyway, this guy, by the way, Jamie Manina, was busted by Predator DC, coming to have sex with an underage girl in November of 2021. It's the same guy. He may have been an active FBI agent at the time. It's unclear exactly on the timeline. He may have just left the Bureau. It's not clear. Or like a few months before this encounter, but he was still, in fact, an advisor to the Pentagon, like he is currently. And here he was busted on camera going to have sex with an underage girl. What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't think you need to explain that.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That's the word.
So you're going to go into detail, and I was going to ask you not to.
Watch. Hear anything?
There's no audio on this. Maybe that's for the better.
Do you guys hear the audio on this? Because I don't.
I do not.
No, I don't.
Huh. Okay. There was audio. I apologize. But here he is being confronted by DC Predator. And he says, no, he said, why were you about to have sex with an underage girl? And he says, no, I'm not. And he just runs out of the house and runs away. Why was this guy still allowed to be working at the Pentagon? According to James O'Keefe, he's now been fired by the Pentagon and his role there. So he is out. But again, the deep state working actively, of course, to undermine President Trump and President-elect Trump. We knew this was the case. Now we have more evidence of it. On-camera admission that that's the case.
Israel has lost in Gaza. That is according to the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who has played a pivotal role in facilitating one of the worst crimes of our age. Now, he hasn't said in those words, Israel has lost in Gaza, but what he has said means the same thing. Let's just have a listen, shall we?
Avoid. Indeed, we assess that Hamas has recruited almost as many new militants as it has lost. That is a recipe for an enduring insurgency and perpetual war. The longer the war goes on, the worse the humanitarian situation gets in Gaza.
Okay, let's just take stock. It is, as I speak, the 15th of January 2024. Israel's genocidal onslaught against Gaza began 466 days ago. Gaza is a tiny strip of land no bigger than East London. It is 360 square kilometres and about 25 miles long. Israel has one of the most sophisticated militaries on the face of the earth. It is armed to the teeth and aided in multiple ways by the United States, the last superpower on earth. It has spent 466 days raising Gaza from the face of the earth, exterminating tens of thousands of people, mostly women, children, and the elderly, whilst engaging in multiple war crimes such as deliberate starvation, the destruction of the healthcare system, mass enforced disappearance, rape, torture, you name it.
We strengthen America's robust sanctions regime on Iran and delivered on President Biden's commitment.
You will forever be known as Bloody Blinken, Secretary of Genocide. You have the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent people on your hands. We have spent
Thank you. I respect your views. Please allow me to share mine. Thank you.
Appeal to your humanity in front of your house. We've written you letters. We've held car rallies. The blood of innocent civilians, of children, is on your hands. We will not forget. We will not forget. We will hold you accountable. We will hold you accountable. Bloody Blinken, Secretary of Genocide. Shame! Shame on you! Shame on you!
So to continue.